Hello chess enthusiasts and welcome to my chessrealm YouTube channel, and today I have prepared an interesting game between Evgeny Alekseev and Irina Krush. Let's see what happened. Evgeny Alekseev had white pieces and he started with e4, c5, and we have Sicilian defense. Knight goes to f3, d6, bishop goes to b5 check, knight goes to d7 defending, d4, knight to f6, targeting this pawn on e4. But white doesn't care and castles king side. And black has decided to grab the pawn, so knight captures on e4. Rook goes to e1, attacking the knight. Knight goes back to f6. The pawn captures on c5. The pawn recaptures on c5. And now knight goes to g5. And this move deserves some attention. White is targeting this pawn on f7. Later with the intention bishop to c4, of course. Well, let's see. After maybe a6, then bishop would go to c4. e6, defending the pawn doesn't help. White simply sacks the knight on f7. King captures on f7. Rook captures on e6. King is going to be discovered checked. If king tries to run on g6, then queen to g4 check. King can only go to f7. Rook goes back to e1, check, knight to d5, and queen to e6 is checkmate. And if maybe here black tries with bishop to e7, then simply rook would go to f6 double check, so knight and bishop cannot capture it. If king captures on f6, then queen to f3 check. King to e5 is the only move, and queen to f4 is checkmate. And if, for example, king goes back to e8, then queen to h5 check. g6 is the only defensive move, then bishop to f7, king to f8, and queen to h6 is checkmate. Okay, let's go back to our game. So here black plays e6 immediately. White continues with knight to c3, bishop goes to e7, and now queen to e2, preventing black from castling king side, because if here black castles king side, then knight would simply capture on a6, f-pawn recaptures on a6, and white captures yet another pawn on e6 check, and then king to h8, and white gains a piece back with two pawns up, and white is much better. Well, here in this position the best move would be queen to b6, with the idea to further defend pawn on e6, because black should expect this knight to f7 sacrifice, but black saw the things otherwise and played a6, attacking the bishop, and now finally knight captures pawn on f7, so double attack on the queen and the rook. So black has more or less no other options but to recapture the knight, so king captures on f7, queen to e6 check. Now if king goes to g6, we have mate in 2, bishop goes to d3 check, king to h5, and queen to h3 is checkmate. So here king goes to f8, bishop goes to c4, preparing checkmate on f7. So queen to e8 was played, defending this f7 square. Bishop goes to f4, preparing bishop to d6. And black plays knight to b8, attacking the queen. Queen goes to d6. Black can capture queen on d6 with bishop, of course. But if bishop captures on d6, then bishop recaptures check, and here black can defend the check only with queen to e7, and then bishop to e7 check, king to e8 is the only move, and now bishop captures on f6, discover check, king let's say to d7, bishop captures yet another pawn on g7, white is a piece and 2 pawns up with a fully developed pieces, and this is a total win for white. Okay, let's go back to our game. So in the game, knight to c6 was played, further defending this bishop on e7, but white doesn't care. Rook captures bishop on e7. Well, black has two ways of recapturing. If knight recaptures on e7, then queen captures on f6 check. And naturally, queen cannot defend on f7 because then we have mate on f7. And if g-pawn recaptures on f6, then bishop to h6 is checkmate. So in the game, queen recaptures on e7, rook goes to e1. Well, queen cannot capture rook because of the pin. And if queen captures queen on d6, then bishop recaptures on f6 check. Well, knight to e7 is the only defense here, but then rook would capture on e7, preparing rook to e1 with mate in 1. g6 creating an escape square doesn't help. Then rook goes to b7 check. King to e8 is the only move. Bishop goes to f7 check. King to d8 and bishop to e7 is checkmate. So here, black would have to play bishop to e6, sacrificing yet another piece, but that wouldn't help in this position. But I'm not going to go through all possible variations, but let's see, one variation would be after bishop to e6, and rook would capture on e6, queen capture on d6, bishop goes to d6, check, but now king can go to f7, escaping the mate. But then, of course, rook to e7, discover check. White would have two pieces and two pawns for rook and would definitely be winning. Okay, so in the game, knight to e8 was played, attacking the queen. Queen goes back to d1. Well, queen on e7 is still under attack. So queen goes to f6. Knight goes to d5, again attacking the queen. Queen goes to g6, and now knight goes to c7. Not so much attacking this rook, but more like attacking this knight, who is twice attacked, defended only by king and queen, and moreover open this d file for the invasion of white queen. Well, let's see. If black captures this knight on c7, then bishop to d6 check. Knight to e7 is the only defensive move. Bishop goes to e7 check. King to e8 and queen to d8 is checkmate. Okay, here maybe black could try with bishop to h3, threatening checkmate, forcing white to come up with another good move. Well, here white would have to find knight to e6 check, another killer move. Black is lost in all variations from here. Well, if black wouldn't capture the knight on e6 with bishop, then he would probably play king to f7, but then knight would go to g5 check. King goes back to f8, queen to d5, and here if black plays a random move, let's say bishop to g4, then we have mating to knight to h7 check. If rook captures on h7, then queen to g8 is checkmate. And of course, if queen captures on h7, then queen to f7 is checkmate. Okay, you can see that there are many way options and I can go through all of them. In the game, bishop to g4 was played. Queen goes to d5, preparing to grab this c5 pawn with a deadly attack. Still, maybe black would try with b6 protecting the pawn, although even this wouldn't save him. But black has decided to lose earlier. Rook to d8 was played, attacking the queen, and now we have mate in 4. White played queen captures pawn on c5 check. Well, king cannot go anywhere. It doesn't matter with which piece black defends. Knight goes to d6 was played. Bishop captures on d6 check. Rook captures on d6 check. And of course, queen captures on d6 check. Well, if black still wants to defend with a knight to e7, of course, queen captures on e7 is checkmate. In the game, black captured queen on d6 with queen, and rook goes to e8, and it was checkmate. So I hope you like this game, I hope you have learned something from it. If you have any questions, my email is below in the description. Of course, I invite you to visit my Instagram page. That's it for now, and see you soon.